Hey, Joe, what are you doing? You got a thing there.
Um, I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing. My wife got me this. I think it's an essential oil diffuser. I thought since we're talking about care, she got me this thing. It's like aromatherapy. Have you heard of these?
No,
I'm,
I think I saw one of those before at like Bed Bath and Beyond, but I can see how that fits in with emotional learning and your breathing techniques and all that, but this is our show where we recommend books for social and emotional learning, not this isn't QVC.
I, uh, whew, point taken, but I thought, I was going to ask the audience maybe for some help or something. It's supposed to be great for you, but you're right. You're right. But I will say little things like this are supposed to make a difference, whether it's sleep, feeling better, who knows? I'll give it a try and I'll let people know down the road if it's good or not. The problem is I don't even know how to work it. That's my bigger issue right now. So, all right. I'll
To
move
recommend
on.
a book.
All right. This month, we are totally focused on social emotional learning. We think it's very appropriate this time of year. And so we'll just kick it off with that. I'm Joe.
TJ.
And we are the Schoolhouse 302. And as we mentioned, this month is totally SEL. And we thought this was great for a couple different reasons. One, we know schools are back in full force, but arguably, TJ, just as difficult as last year. We're definitely in a better position. We know more. And I think most of schools, especially that we're familiar with, have great plans. But COVID is still wreaking havoc. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. And that's why social and emotional learning is so important. We write about the blend in our recent blog post and just using it within the curriculum and weaving these things together.
No doubt. So the first book I would like to recommend is Thomas Herr's The Formative Five. This is an excellent book. It's interesting because he has a newer book out that's totally focused on SEL that combines with his formative five. Once you dig into this book, he mentions SEL from the beginning. There's a few things that stand out though that I want to say why I recommend this. This has been on my shelf for a little while. Let me first say what those five skills are. The first is empathy. The second is self-control. The third is integrity. The fourth is embracing diversity. And the fifth skill is grit. Why I love this book though, TJ, is it has self-assessment surveys for the teacher in it. So each of the five, the teacher can go ahead, rate themselves. I like that level of interaction. It actually reminds me of our own rep survey to some degree, where we want the reader to engage with what they're reading to better improve their skill set. I mean, that's what all this is about, right? Reading about LCL is one thing. Implementing SEL woven into the fabric of your school culture is totally different. So those self-assessments, I think, are great reflection tools. And then on the back end in the appendix, he does have them for students as well. So pick it up, Formative Five, Thomas Herr. You will not be disappointed.
Yeah, Thomas Herr's work is awesome. We feature him as a guest on our One Thing series, so you got to check out that as well. And that new book, taking SEL school wide, is a great companion piece to the Formative Five. That's a great recommendation. I got one here for you. Improve Every Lesson Plan with SEL by Jeffrey Benson. This is a great book. It's an ASCD book. It's easy to read. The chapters include things about setting explicit goals, accessing student prior knowledge, formative assessment, opening and closing lessons. If we're really going to do this right, SEL can't be a separate piece like an agenda item. It has to be part of the lesson, digging deeper in the way that we ask students questions and just used throughout an entire period. Again, not as a separate thing. SEL has to be within our school culture. And I really believe that starts with lesson planning. So this is one that everybody should have on their shelf if you want SEL to be in the lesson plan, not be a separate lesson plan. And that's a critical concept for building that in the culture. Joe, do you have a reading tip this month?
I do. And I think you make a few excellent points, TJ. SELs have to be a part of the lesson plan. None of this is new. I think when teachers dig into this and administrators, they realize we've been doing this for a while. My recommendation, and this may sound a little simple, but is actually to do the activities that are in books now. And I know that sounds crazy, but the reality is a lot of books are written. And I can tell you from experience, TJ and I, with dealing with our editors, specifically with Corwin, wanted to have how-to sections. When Thomas Herr writes about the self-assessment survey, when other books tell you very practical ideas, do the activity. You're not getting most out of the book unless you're really engaging with it. And I'll be honest, I'm guilty of this. I've read books that have little activities at the end, 10, 15 minutes, TJ, and I don't do it. And then I'm at the end of the book, and honestly, I regret it because I'm not sure the written word transformed my behavior, my leadership skills, or me as a person. And then if not, why am I even reading? So do the activity. You won't regret it.
Yeah, and something that, well, I'll add to that, Joe, is do the activity with your leadership team. Doing that activity in isolation is one thing. Doing it with your leadership team and seeing where it fits into the culture of the school is another. That's how we're going to bring SEL into the culture of our school, and not one extra thing on top of people or one extra thing on top of our day. We hope that helped. Reach out. Let us know what you're reading. You can always get us at contact@theschoolhouse302.com. You can always find blog posts, podcasts, video blogs, always on the topic of leadership, books to read. Read this series at theschoolhouse302.com. We'll see you next time. Enjoy.